The firefighter shouted, "We have time to reach one room!" Then I heard coughing from the other side of the house. My twins were inside, both trapped, different floors. Mia was upstairs in her bedroom. Ethan was in the basement playroom. The firefighter grabbed my shoulder, his face covered in soot. "Sir, the structure won't hold. One room, that's all we got." I stood there on my front lawn in my pajamas, barefoot on the cold grass. The neighbors were gathering. Someone was filming, and I had to choose which of my children would live. How do you make that choice? Mia had been sick her whole life, born with a hole in her heart, 3 surgeries by age 6, spent half her childhood in hospital beds with tubes running out of her arms. She was fragile, but God, she was the toughest person I knew, always smiling through the pain, always telling the nurses jokes to make them laugh. Ethan was healthy, captain of his soccer team, honor roll every semester since 6th grade, had his whole life mapped out, college, law school, wanted to work for the ACLU, and help people who couldn't afford lawyers. He'd already started volunteering at the community legal aid office at 16. The firefighter was staring at me, sweat dripping down his face. "Sir, now! The smoke's getting thicker!" I could hear Mia coughing upstairs, a wet rattling sound that I recognized from all those hospital stays. Then Ethan screaming from below, his voice cracking with terror. My legs moved before my brain caught up. I pointed toward the staircase. "My daughter, 2nd floor, 2nd door on the right, pink door." The firefighter nodded once and disappeared into the black smoke pouring from my front door. I fell to my knees on the lawn, my phone clutched in my shaking hand. I had to call my ex-wife. I had to tell her I just sentenced our son to death because I couldn't bear to lose our sick daughter, not after everything she'd already been through. My finger was hovering over her contact when I heard it, small feet slapping against concrete. Ethan burst through the side gate, coughing violently, his face black with smoke. He'd found the basement exit, the old bulkhead doors we never used, the ones I'd completely forgotten about in my panic. He collapsed on the grass next to me, gasping for air. Dad, where's Mia?" I couldn't speak, just pointed at the house as the firefighter emerged through the front door, carrying Mia's limp body in his arms. They laid her on the lawn, started CPR immediately. I watched her chest compress and release, compress and release. Ethan was screaming her name. The paramedics arrived and took over, shocking her with a defibrillator. They worked for 20 minutes. She never woke up. The medical examiner said it was smoke inhalation, said she'd probably already been unconscious when the firefighter reached her, said there was nothing anyone could have done differently. But I knew the truth. Those extra 30 seconds while I made my choice, those were the seconds that killed her. Ethan stopped talking to me after the funeral. He knew I'd chosen her. He knew I'd pointed to her room first. He knew that in my head, I'd already decided he was the one who was going to die. My ex-wife blamed me too, said I should have told them to save both, let the firefighters decide, but she wasn't there. She didn't hear the certainty in that man's voice when he said one room. 3 months later, the fire marshal's report came back. Arson. Someone had poured accelerant in 3 different locations throughout the house. Upstairs hallway, basement stairs, kitchen. Professional job, they said. They arrested Mia's boyfriend 2 weeks after that, Kyle, the kid who'd been dating her for 8 months. Turns out he'd taken out a life insurance policy on her 6 months earlier, listed himself as beneficiary, forged her signature. He'd known about her heart condition, thought no one would question it if she died. Planned to blame it on her medical history. The insurance company had a $300,000 payout. Kyle confessed to everything. Showed them receipts for the accelerant he'd bought 3 towns over. Explained how he'd snuck into our house that afternoon while we were all out. Set up the timers. He'd calculated it to start at 2 a.m. when we'd all be asleep. He got 15 years. But here's what destroyed me. After the sentencing, Ethan finally came to see me. First time in almost a year. He sat down at my kitchen table and put a folder in front of me. Inside were texts from Mia's phone. She'd known about the fire, found the insurance papers, confronted Kyle, never believed he'd stopped. 3 days before the fire, she warned Ethan. Made him promise that if anything happened, he'd save himself. She stayed quiet so I wouldn't worry. Ethan knew too, and let me carry the guilt for a year. She made me promise not to tell you, he said.